This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It happened also suddenly. Anyone who's ever been at a rally recognizes that there is just chaos. There's a lot of energy, that everyone's running back and forth. Eva Longoria was there. We were all lined up next to the stage. Joe Biden was behind me. And very unexpectedly and out of nowhere, I feel Joe Biden put his hands on my shoulders, get up very close to me from behind, lean in, smell my hair, and then plant a slow kiss on the top of my head.
Maybe he just likes hair. Maybe he thought you were Eva Longoria. Look, for the front, we would never mistake you to Lucy Flores. But from behind, maybe he thought you were Eva Longoria and thought, I've seen her commercials. Let's see if it really smells the way oh. It's interesting, right? This whole thing. We've known for years. Like, this is the worst kept secret. We have known for years. The right has talked about it for years. The left has ignored it for years. Just the weird creeperness. But you know what's interesting is I was talking to my producer today, producer Anthony, and he and I were chatting about this. He says, you know, he's Italian. And Anthony's all, I used to be that way. I used to be very handsy. I'm Italian, very handsy, like hugs, and we're all that kind of way. And I said, you know what? He's probably, well, the hair sniffing is a bit odd. It's a bit odd. But, you know, he's unaware and socially inept when it comes to people's space. That's it. It is. And let's be honest, right? For a lot of people out there, Joe Biden's sell-by date is about 25, 30 years ago. They're not looking to him. He's not progressive enough. He said a bunch of things along the way that are very Dan Quayle-esque. If you don't know who Dan Quayle is, look him up. He is really, as far as I'm concerned, he never really had a shot anyways. I think his big thing was, if I can get through, I've always said he may have a better shot against Trump than the rest of them, but he'll never get out of the Democratic primaries. And I wouldn't be surprised if he says, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And oddly enough, he's apologized for everything and then some over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, as many Democrats have. But he's not really apologizing for this. He's like, I didn't think I did anything wrong.
That in and of itself might not sound like it's a very serious thing. That in and of itself might sound like it was innocent and well-intentioned. But in a person that had absolutely no relationship with him afterwards, as a candidate who was preparing to make my case for why I should be elected the second in command of that state, to have the vice president of the United States do that to me so unexpectedly and just kind of out of nowhere, it was just shocking.
Was it really shocking? Again, Google it. That's all you got to do. There's some, he's done this on numerous occasions with all kinds of women and little kids. It's not a secret. It's never been a secret.
In no other context is this behavior okay. And all it takes is for people to Google, you know, I hate to say it, but this is the term that's out there that describes him, creepy Uncle Joe or creepy Biden, and see what comes up in that Google search. It feels like almost endless images of him being inappropriate.
That's so true. It's so true. But that's based on today. Let's remember, we love retro rage. Nothing is more exciting than being angry about something that was fine 15 years ago or just saw as, it's an aloof thing and it is what it is, to what it is now. And now everybody is offended by everything all the time. And it's no longer how something was said. It's no longer what, you know, I gave you a hug. It was only meant to be a hug. Now it's you sexually assaulted me. Or there are creepers out there. Let's be real. There's absolutely a ton of creepers out there. There's a ton of creepers out there. You know it and I know it. But this is also a great way to get rid of somebody who a good majority of the progressive left really, they don't want him around. They don't want him around. And he's going to have to answer for this. And what a great way to get rid of him. What a great way to get rid of him. Now, there are people out there saying, hold on a second. Why you wait until now to talk about this? Well, partly because why not now? Now Joe's going to be running. So wouldn't you ask the people that have gone through this, about this, right? And this was the guy, too, who's also last week apologized about the way that the whole thing, with Clarence Thomas and all of that went down with Anita Hill. So now is the time to say, hold on a second. Look at these things here that you've done in the past. And we live in a much more woke society than we've ever lived in before. And you weren't woke back then, even though woke wasn't a thing. You should have known that one day we were all going to be woke. You should have been forward-thinking woke, and you weren't. And because of that, you got to pay the price. You've got to pay the price.
Statement out just moments ago, the former vice president says he's given countless handshakes and hugs on the campaign trail. Quote, unquote, not once, never did I believe I acted inappropriately. If it is suggested I did so, I will listen respectfully, but it was never my intention, unquote.
And again, all the stuff that we talk about in his apology tour, all of them are on some sort of apology tour. Everybody's trying to apologize over apologizing. I need to apologize for the fact that I'm apologizing for so much. This is one of those things where it's like, I'm not really apologizing because it wasn't meant that way. You've taken it that way. I'm sorry if you felt that it was that way, but it was never meant that way. It's no longer how it was meant. And it's creepy. It's very creepy. People smelling your hair. And then we like this. We all, like, for me, I don't like a lot of people. I don't like crowds. It drives me crazy. It does. 3 weeks ago, I went to SeaWorld because Jack and I like to go to SeaWorld. So I went to SeaWorld. It was the first Saturday in forever where the sun was out in San Diego. It was a nightmare. Went back there on Friday. Not a lot of people there. Loved it. Had 10 times the fun that we had before. I don't like crowds. Don't want to wait in line. Don't like crowds. Don't like people touching me. But if somebody does, I don't take it that way. But if somebody comes up and sniffs my hair, that's a weird thing. That feels very fetishy. It does.
Tonight, I believe Lucy Flores. And Joe Biden needs to give an answer.
Should he not run as a result?
That's for Joe Biden to decide.
That's for Joe Biden. She hopes, right? There's as many people you can eliminate. What would a Native American think of something like this? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Oh, what will we do with the borders, kids?
I'm very upset with Mexico. I think Mexico is doing a lot of talking. They have the strongest immigration laws anywhere in the world. They probably have the strongest. And we have the worst. We have the weakest, the most pathetic, the most laughed at immigration laws anywhere in the world. They're the Democrats' laws. And I got stuck with them. And I hope Congress is going to change them rapidly.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. You and I both know. I had somebody tweeting at me earlier, Chad, you just don't understand the immigration debate. You just don't understand I could solve it. I'm sure you could solve it. Absolutely. I understand you could solve anything because you have all these great ideas and how you're going to solve it. You can't solve it because nobody really wants to solve it. And we've got issues here that are massive and that have been going on for decades and continue to do so. This right here, to me, still perplexes me more than any of all of the immigration debate that we have, of all of the craziness that goes on with immigration. There's one thing that perplexes me the most.
We have this ridiculous catch and release program where you catch them and then you're supposed to release them. And you release them into our country.
Never understood it. Still don't understand it. Still don't. Spoke to Congressman Biggs last week, Arizona. What did he say? Hey, if we build the wall, it still won't matter because all they got to do is get to the top of the wall. And what happens at that point in time? Well, they're on U.S. soil because we're going to have to build it on U.S. soil. So essentially, they're here and we have to give them an opportunity to apply for asylum. They're not even trying. I read today they're not even trying anymore to escape into the country. They're getting, and this, I talked about this 2 years ago. I was out of McAllen, Texas. And they were saying that they understand the rules so well that they now look for border agents to turn themselves in because they understand that they're going to get released. They're not even trying now. It's getting worse. They'll have opportunities to get into the country and just kind of walk in. They're still turning themselves in because they know there's nothing you can do about it. And that is that I don't get it. Still don't get it. Don't understand it. I don't know too many people who do, right? Even people who are proponents and I'm a proponent of making it easier to come here temporarily and work. I've talked about that over and over again. But this, I don't get this. Do not get this. And the big question is, what is he going to do about the southern border? Because the way it's going right now, right, we got to do something. I don't know if the wall's going to be the end-all to be-all, especially, if you consider the fact that we're going to have to build on American soil, so you just have to get to the wall now. It's like, like when you're a kid, right? You're playing tag, and there was always a free zone. That's kind of what this is. So what do we do?
Mexico is going to have to do something, otherwise I'm closing the border. I'll just close the border. With a deficit like we have with Mexico and have had for many years, closing the border will be a profit-making operation. When you close the border, also you will stop a lot of the drugs from coming in, but I will close the border if Mexico doesn't get with it, if Mexico doesn't stop it.
Yeah. Is that what he's going to do? I don't know. Is it possible? I think it is. But I will tell you this right now. The whole asylum thing, and it's funny, I was talking to some people who are super pro, like, oh, we got to give these people an opportunity. I'm like, financial reasons for them to come here is not the reason for asylum. Are some of them being run out of their areas because of drugs and violence, domestic violence? That's really, yeah, I would say that. But the hundreds of thousands that are coming here, they're coming here because there's a better life and a better opportunity here. That's insane. We cannot be everybody's reason to come here because there's a better life and a better opportunity, or a good portion of the globe would come here. We got to figure this out. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Hope you had a good weekend. I had a very nice weekend. I got stomach flu last night. Did not go very well. Or the day before yesterday. But it was like 12 hours. Boom. Gone. Feels so much better. My son's got it. Last night, his mom texted me. He's got the stomach flu. It's like midnight. By 8 o'clock this morning, feels totally fine. It was just quick moving. I was like, oh. And I'm not a vomit guy. I'm just going to tell you guys that right now. Like the chills, pneumonia, right? Like get shot in the arm. I'm good. I'll walk it off. I'll be fine. I'm not a vomit guy. Like, that's not my thing. Some people, they may be. Others, not so much. May vomit. Nope. I will lay there. Ugh. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So got home last night. Came inside the house. Could not smell. We've been gone 2.5 days, 3 days. Could not smell anything. Right? Thank you, Pretty Litter. Could not smell anything. Could you imagine leaving your cats alone for 3 or 4 days and walking in the house, knowing that, even though you got a couple litter boxes, it's still going to be full? Not a thing. And it's not because they didn't go to the bathroom. It's because we got pretty litter, and it's incredible. Kitty Litter 2.0. Ship right to my door. Small, lightweight bags. I got 3 tiny bags. They've lasted me such a long time. Such a massive long time. It is totally mind-boggling that these little bags, they're like the size of like cat treat bags. It's incredible. You're going to love it. Next level odor protection, super absorbent crystals. They actually trap and conceal odor and moisture. No smell, no mess. Forget that dirty clay or compost that's completely gross to clean up. None of that. And here's the best part. Pretty Litter even monitors your cat's health. It does. It's incredible. What it does is it changes colors to detect underlying illnesses before urgent medical care is needed, saving you money, stress, and potentially your cat's life. Do what I did. Make the switch to Pretty Litter today by visiting prettylitter.com. Use promo code Chad, save you 20% on your first order. You're going to be shocked by how small these bags are. Last you a month. Prettylitter.com, promo code Chad, 20% off. Prettylitter.com, promo code Chad. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
You listen to the Chad Benson Show. You know we do a thing here called the Urban Word. Well, a television station in Toledo, Ohio, WTOL, did something for the kids who are getting ready to take a test. I think it was high school kids getting ready to take some sort of test, and they wanted to show how hip and cool they were, and instead all they did was show how white and uncool they were. Ladies and gentlemen, WTOL.
Good morning, TPS students. It is testing week, and it's time to slay all day.
Stay woke, be on fleek, and get that Gucci breakfast.
Goals. Say bye, Felicia, to that testing stress. Weather's going to be turned, right, Chris?
Yes! Toledo weather going to be lit during testing week. A hundo P chance of success. You've got this, kids.
So, producer Phil At what point do you think, oh my God, if this ever gets out, I'm the worst human being on earth because I couldn't get any whiter?
Oh God, that was awful.
Hundo P, let's get lit, kids. What's going on? What? I couldn't even imagine that, but they're not done yet, kids. Oh, no. They're just getting started.
How about that traffic? Are we looking
better than we're talking turn. FOMO won't be an issue. No traffic problems around any TPS schools to keep you from taking those tests.
Made even the black guy sound bad. Chad, it's not very nice. It's a, what is that? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's Cardi B's thing.
Oh, goodness me. This is why we can't have nice things right there. This is why we can't. Those are real live people right there doing something because they thought that that's what kids would respond to. If I'm a high school kid sitting there and I'm seeing this come across my morning bulletin, right, that we're already stuck watching, and I see them go, oh, turn, lit, slay. If I see that come across, I don't even want to take the test at this point in time. What do I have to do to get that job? Because that ain't hard. Oh, so sad. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Boeing's still having issues with their airplane that don't fly so well.
This is a significant delay. It means even more time on the ground for these 737 MAXs. The FAA not saying what they're concerned about, just that it's going to take coming weeks. Is that 2, 3, 4? We don't know to get this approval.
That's not all. Yeah, they've got more issues with the software. It's taking a little bit longer. I think what they're trying to do is all the stuff you had to pay for to get, right? Because they tried to do micro transactions for people flying. Well, I want to land the plane, so that'll cost me an extra $1. Right? I want to take off. That's going to cost me an extra $1. Next thing you know, the plane's free, but all the microtransactions cost you $700 million. Well, they're trying to fix all that, and that's not going as smoothly as planned, and this just does not look good for Boeing. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. God, that's embarrassing. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
The Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You got parents laughing going, and then they walk over to the camera and go, and not just one, but a bunch of parents doing this. Then we see footage of one of the reported fathers of the victims, Robbie Parker, doing classic acting training where he's laughing and joking, and they say, hey, we're live. And he goes, oh. And maybe that's real. I'm sure it is.
You realize now you were mocking the difficult emotional reactions of people who provably lost their children.
No, I was not mocking. I was showing what people were questioning. It's you that is projecting mocking onto it.
Yeah, it's you. It's not me. I don't do any of those things. It's probably aliens anyways. I don't even think they're real. Aliens are very real. They're here right now. How should I know? Because I'm Alex Jones. That's how I know. So these are some of his... So he's being deposed because the Sandy Hook families are suing him. And he is... what would you say? It's 4chan. Is there another one? Is there 8chan or something like that now?
There's all kinds of Chans.
There's Jackie Chan. Man, when Jackie Chan is your guy, you know you're in a lot of trouble. But 4chan is like, that's the big conspiracy theory thing. And he's got some serious issues, though, Alex, here in dealing with stuff. In saying that, you know, I've defended his right to say stupid stuff. I don't like what he does, and they're coming after him. I don't like the way that they've deplatformed him because I think doing that to somebody silences free speech. And there's the worry always. You know, today I was talking to somebody about just the NRA. And I understand why the NRA fights as hard as they do. And she's a big believer in gun rights. And she's like, but you know what? I'm okay with some common sense reform. She goes, but I just don't trust anybody in the government because, as we all know, the road to hell is paved with what? Good intentions. And it's the unforeseen circumstances and consequences that end up biting people in the ass. They think they're doing the right thing and they get hammered for it. And I think that's the same way I feel about somebody like Alex Jones, who I'm not a fan of. I just nothing about him is he's entertaining because he's insane. Right? Like, that's exactly what I'm talking. What do you mean I'm insane? Are you saying it because I've been abducted by aliens? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I'm abducted by aliens, and because of that, somehow I'm magically crazy? Is that what you think? No.
You don't believe the official story of Sandy Hook. You think there was cover-up? You think there was manipulation? You think that there is some sinister thing going on?
I think children died. I believe mass shootings happen. I believe it's a crisis. It's traumatic, and so people go and they find anomalies. It's just the school system and government trying to cover its rear end from liability, and so there's been a cover-up of the events, and I think there's a lot of evidence showing there could have been a second shooter. There is the helicopter footage, the man in the woods.
There's all kinds of stuff like that. Probably an alien. Guy probably had a tail. That's what they got it came from. I don't even know. It could be anything. I'm just telling you guys. There it is. The second guy. This is a conspiracy. So that's where he's going with this. Is I said these things because I think everything is a conspiracy, right? Like the bee that lands on my car is probably a small drone taking pictures to find out about me. Everything's a conspiracy, right? Everything. Chemtrails, total conspiracy. It's the government totally trying to poison us, turn us into frog people. That's the stuff that he does. And now what he's going to try to do is essentially come at it from, they're going to say to him, so you don't believe, no, I do believe this. I believe that it did happen. What I do really believe is not only did it happen, but it happened in a way where you guys don't understand because there was 8 other people involved and there was all of this stuff. And it was people that were perpetrating it, trying to take guns away from people. He's going to come at it in that weird kind of thing, trying to show, could that have been a possibility? Because he knows he's in deep crap. He knows they're coming for him hard. And the chances of them maybe taking some cash from him and or just destroying him altogether, it could be real. And remember, just like with what just took place with the weed killer, right? You know, and it's taken place with mold and other things. You only need a sympathetic jury to hand somebody money to come after anybody and everybody all the time. So while I don't agree with a lot that he does, except for, well, nothing. Actually, nothing. I don't agree with anything he does. I do look at him and say that the way I think at times they've gone after him is wrong. And the Sandy Hook thing, that's on him altogether. It is. It is. I've defended his right to say his dumb stuff, but he may pay the price for it. And if they get a sympathetic jury, there's a chance that this could really, really end everything that is InfoWars and whatnot. Instead of the marketplace doing it, he could have got himself done and dusted by a jury. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson. Share is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love to hear from each and every one of you. So this I find to be very interesting. I don't know how real this is because when you ask people questions, especially about drugs and alcohol in the workplace, you wonder, okay, how real is this? But if it's somebody who's independent, I think you'd probably be more apt to be real, unless you're worried about being judged, right? It's the whole thing with like Trump. Like, you know, if a computer calls you up, you're more apt to look around and say, well, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. But if a human's on the other line, you're like, oh, I don't want to feel like a Richard, so I'm not going to say that because they're going to judge me on this. So I'll just say I'm voting for whoever. So they ask people drugs, right? And drank in the workplace. 77.5% say they've not done any alcohol or drugs in the workplace. 22.5%, essentially 23% say they have. What are some of the men, more often than not, will drink or do drugs compared to women? Recreational, this is what I found to be interesting. I like smoke a little weed at work every now and then. But here's the breakdown. Alcohol still number one. About 64% of those 22% of women say, yeah, and 70% almost of men say, yeah, I've drank. Recreational marijuana, about a quarter of men, about 20% of women. Then it gets down to weird stuff, like, get ready for this. Cocaine, 3% of women, 6.5% of men. Heroin. Well, men, apparently 15% of men who've said they've drank or have done drugs at work. Heroin has been that thing they've done. Only 3% of women. And then meth, which is always a solid move, right? That one right there is interesting. 5% for men, 3% for women. And again, men tend to do it a little bit more than women. And the one thing that's a riser in this is the fact that more and more people are doing recreational pot. So not to be, as it becomes legalized across the country, and I don't really see why it shouldn't be legalized across the country, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't say it is what it is, right? Get over it. Now, when it's your work, that's a different story. But if you test somebody, like you smoke weed today, you test them tomorrow, it doesn't mean they're on weed then, but it's still going to be inside there, especially if you do a hair sample and stuff. That's not a good thing. And I've worked a couple places where some people have coked themselves out, and I worked a place where I hired. If you ever worked in a telephone room, and my buddy set up telephone rooms across the country, and back in the day of when that was like, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have these things. That's how people would invest and whatnot. Man, we had a couple guys who were methed out, but they were great on the phone. They were methed out. They were nuts. They were so crazy. They would leave, come back, do like 300 phone calls, leave for like 20 minutes later, eat like 2 sandwiches, and do another 400 phone calls. It was crazy. Never much drinkers, though, except when I worked in financials. They would drink at party, but never at work, always after work. But Coke was prevalent everywhere. But, man, meth, that was 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. People love to complain. That is one of the number one things I think is becoming our pastime here. And social media is making it easier and easier to do so. Case in point, Becky Ditchfield, weather person.
She's getting shamed for being pregnant on air. One viewer even going as far as to telling her she's blocking too much of the weather map. I mean, come on. Another person telling her she looks like a freak, her belly sticking out 2 miles.
Today told a story about Becky Ditchfield, a meteorologist at NBC's Denver affiliate, and how she fired back at critics who complained about her being pregnant on air.
Your response has been overwhelmingly positive and supportive, and I wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, most people are pretty good, but it still doesn't matter. If you have 20,000 people who send you positive messages, right, but you still have 5,000 people that send you messages showing how douchebags they are, it's so real. Every day, there's not a day that I don't get hammered from somebody about something, how they could do my job better, how I'm a horrible father. I took Jack this weekend to SeaWorld. Got just hammered for that. How dare you do that? You're a scumbag. You're a horrible person. Blah, 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 blah. But people love to bitch. They just do. And I've always tried to tell people, just go look at their Facebook page or their Twitter page or something. First of all, they usually have 4 followers. Nobody wants to be their friends. And the people that are the friends also are groupthink anger. Right? And they wake up and they're angry. If the sky is blue, they're pissed because they wanted clouds. If there's clouds, they wanted it blue. Right? There's nothing in their life that will. They're always perpetually angry. And now because of social media, it's easy to be perpetually angry all the time, 24/7, and have a voice for that because you're not afraid of getting punched in the face.
Becky, who admitted to locking herself in a bathroom to cry at one point, said that on top of the emotional strain from people's comments, she's also dealing with a high-risk pregnancy.
I have a rare uterine malformation, so I'm actually really high risk of going into labor very early. Then there's all of the hormones that go into pregnancy. And so the last thing you want to worry about is what you're wearing on TV and what people are thinking about how you look.
Yeah, but the whole, it's just like people who shame people for breastfeeding. Why are you doing that? It's one of the most natural things in the history of mankind. Well, it still should be done somewhere else. Shut up. Just shut up. Why are people so, like, if I look at somebody, first of all, why take the time out of your day to criticize somebody that's just too much energy into something? I'm so mad. No, I can't do that. Right? I cannot. And And there's times when I probably should, like especially as a consumer. I stay at hotels all over the country all the time, right? And some of them, because I'm super cheap and I will just stay somewhere because I know I'm going to be there for 6 or 8 hours. And it's sometimes it's like, you know what? It's a small little town. I know what anything's like. I'll just stay there. And you stay there and you probably should be like, I should probably warn people. Maybe you shouldn't stay here. In fact, I read a review. Phil, I read this review last week for this hotel I stayed at in Yuma. Some of the reviews on there were so amazing, including, we were here 2 hours before they got the dead body out of the pool. And I probably should think, you probably shouldn't stay here. But I just can't. I don't have the energy for that. But it doesn't matter what it is. It could be the most just boring thing in the world. We'll have to just criticize it. Because that's all we like to do is just bitch, whine, and moan all day. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from each and every one of you, even if you do criticize. We're all friends here. The old Chad Benson Show. A decade ago, AMAC was founded as an alternative left-leaning Goliath that is ERP. Like ARP, AMAC membership costs less than $20 a year, but don't worry about the cost because I got you. And those benefits make up for their annual fee 10 times over. When you choose AMAC, your supporting organization stands for your values like protecting our borders, common sense, immigration reform, replace Obamacare with something better, and they're more than just a political advocacy organization, way more. Retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, cheap movie ticket discounts, right? Competitively priced insurance, you name it, they've got it, and then some. And right now they're offering my listeners of the Chad Benson Show a free 1-year membership. Go to amac.us/Chad. Receive your first year free. That's amac.us/Chad. No cost, no tricks, no credit card required, just a free 1-year membership. Benefits of this are incredible, and they're worth it for the time it takes to sign up, which is virtually nothing. amac.us/Chad or call 888-355-1668. 888-355-1668 or amac.us/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show. You have magic.
Disney's live-action Dumbo remake wasn't quite as magical as expected at the box office. It opened with $45 million, not only less than forecast, but by comparison, well below the $174 million debut of 2017's live-action Beauty and the Beast remake.
They know where we are.
The horror flick Us got bumped from first to second place, $33.6 million there, for a 2-week domestic total of $128.2 million.
Yeah. I want to go see. I'll probably go see Us tomorrow night. I'm going to go see Pet Sematary this week, and I just have no desire to see Dumbo. And I said it looks depressing. If it's a Tim Burton movie, so you figure, oh my God, Helena Bonham Carter is probably in it somewhere, and this Dumbo's played by Johnny Depp, who like really gets into it, buys wine in his elephant costume all the time, goes broke. But it's just somebody who saw it said, it's not really as depressing as you think. But it feels depressing. It does. It just feels like the stuff he does, because he has that way that he films Tim Burton, and it always looks the exact same. It's really neat, right? In the right script and situation, it pays itself off, but a lot of times it's 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So Rock and Roll Hall of Fame had their inductions over the weekend. So they're inducting everybody. But you got to go through the usual. You walk up and people ask you questions and people are excited. Oh, my God, here comes these famous rock and roll folk. And The Cure, which is synonymous with depression and sadness. Even though, quite frankly, Robert Plant, while a very morose person, is not really a depressed person. But they showed up and doing their thing because they were going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the lady was, very excited. Them, not so much.
Hi, guys. Hey, how are you? I'm Carrie. It's so nice to meet you. Hi. Congratulations, The Cure, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees 2019. Are you as excited as I am?
By the sounds of it, no.
Oh, no. What are we going to do?
I'm sure we'll get there eventually. It's a bit early, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it is. Maybe we just need a few drinks.
God forbid.
Yeah, and then so they were inducted. Trent Reznor inducted him. I don't know if you heard this, Phil, but he really must love the band because he knows all their names.
Tonight
It is my absolute pleasure to invite to the stage Robert Smith and his band of merry men.
Robert Smith and the other guys.
And the other guys.
Here you go, other guys. Yeah. Speaking of bands, apparently heart valve replacement. Suddenly the Stones canceled their tour abruptly, and heart valve replacement for the 75-year-old Mick Jagger. He is said to be able to make a full recovery once he has this. They said it's 95% is the success rate with this, and they said he is in extraordinary health and physical shape for somebody of his age, and that they believe that he will be on stage by summer. So think about that. It's pretty awesome. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I just love the fact that Keith Richards tweeted out about, we're here for you. We hope you get well. And I'm thinking, he's just never going to die. The last one standing. Old Keith there, right? Of all the people that have a heart valve replacement, it's not Keith. It's Mick. Think about all the stuff they've done, and they're all still alive, and they're all still together. That is crazy, especially in the world of music. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can text us as well. Check out thechadshow.com. Grab your podcast. And Facebook as well. Like us there and share the conversation of fun. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
He would be developing a plan that he would take to the American people during the 2020 campaign and suggest that that would be what he would be advocating in a second term if there were a Republican Congress.
Oh. Of all the bad ideas, this was not only the best bad idea, it was the worst bad idea. So Trump gets to a situation where this Mueller investigation seems to be over with, minus the political side of it, which they were going to always do no matter what. Even when this thing comes out in the next 2 weeks, I can guarantee you whatever's redacted is the reason that Trump got elected, even if it's innocent people who did nothing wrong, stuff that's under the grand jury that you can't actually legally see, that they're going to make it. Oh, the Democrats are going to make it. This is what it is. So, but for all intents and purposes, most of the people are like, well, Mueller spoke. We're going to get on with our lives. Those that did care, which were, the people that sit around all night just watching Fox News and MSNBC and whatnot. But the average person hears him after he gets out of this, and rather than take a lap of victory saying, wah, he goes, healthcare. We got healthcare, kids. We got healthcare. You guys understand what we got? We got healthcare. We're going to take that square on. Here we come. You can't stop us. We're coming. It's healthcare. Oh yeah. And people are like, wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what?
Your administration is making very clear that you think the Affordable Care Act ballot should be struck down. What is your message to Americans who may be concerned about their
what my message is. The Republican Party will soon be known as the party of healthcare.
No, because now this thing's going to the Supreme Court. You do not have any kind of quote-unquote replacement, right? You have the usual spinning, talking about the great, amazing, greatest thing in the history of things that you've got coming out. So long on words, short on details. I feel like you're Evel Knievel and you just left to take that jump and you're just now leaving the ramp and you're realizing I don't have the equipment to make it all the way over to the other side.
We don't have the House. So even though the health care is good, really good, it's much better than when the plan comes out, which we'll be showing you at the appropriate time. It's much better than Obamacare.
Oh, super better. So here's what Mitch McConnell had to say about this, right? So this is just an awful. So an awful situation. President comes out, and I think the president basically said, we're going to do health care, and everybody else is looking around going, wait, what? He wants to do that again? And they failed miserably at this. We're going to talk to Steve Cortez, CNN political analyst who's working with Trump on the 2020 re-election campaign. We're going to talk to him about the hour. I'm going to ask him this question about this because I think this was stupid. But Mitch McConnell said this today.
I made it clear to him we were not going to be doing that in the Senate. He did say, as he later tweeted, he accepted that.
Okay, so now it's, hey, you guys elect me again? I'll give you health care. Not right now. But wait, there's lawsuits going up to the Supreme Court. You've been talking about that. This could throw everything into more chaos. This is a epic fail. This was not good. This was and you better figure something out. Right? And why you even chose this is beyond me. Why you even said, hey, let's do this. You didn't take the victory lap that a lot of people thought you were going to take. You could have started with, you could have gone right back into immigration. We're going to touch on that in a second, which damn skippy you should. But you could have looked at something completely bipartisan, like, hey, let's get a great infrastructure bill done that'll be amazing. Put Americans back to work, fix our crumbling roads and all these other things we have. Let's do that because that's a good thing. And if the Democrats don't want to do that, we'll make everybody know that we put this out there. The Democrats can talk about how they didn't want to do it because for whatever reason. But at least do something where you could have really had an opportunity to pass something, you get something through. But instead, you decided to jump on the healthcare thing. You didn't really alert your team on what you were going to do by the sounds of it. And with all that being said now, the failure, just like Hillary lost twice with the Mueller investigation coming out, looking like there's nothing inside of there, looks like the Republicans are losing twice when it comes to healthcare. And we could be losing again, especially when this thing goes to the Supreme Court and it, boom, falls apart. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Speaking of the, well, quite frankly, the wackiness that is the border, the threat is still there. Trump is going to Calexico on Friday. Which, by the way, I think it's 3 days. 3 days is what it would take before we'd have a shortage of avocados in this country. If the shutdown on the border comes, we need to do something because it's getting ugly, it's getting nasty, the humanitarian crisis is growing, and our men and women are completely overworked. They're underfunded, and this is going to be something that is going to get so ugly so fast that even the Democrats are looking around going, wait, we should probably do something. Because this, at this point in time, I'm looking at you guys over there and saying, all right, what are you guys really going to do? Right? I know you don't want to give them a wall, but the people who are down at the border say a wall be good, especially in certain areas. Right? So we're going to have to figure out that. They said, worst case scenario, it's going to funnel some people there. But on top of that, the laws behind that need to change because the catch and release and the asylum, that's got to change. We got to figure some of these things out. But it's getting ugly.
Well, the president has emergency authority to close down the ports of entry. But what it means is the miles and miles of of trucks waiting to come into the United States, importing produce, manufactured goods, the hundreds of thousands of workers who work for U.S. businesses legally but live in Mexico. All of that's going to be shut down. $650 billion in trade with Mexico threatened. And it's going to do nothing, absolutely nothing to stop the flow of Central Americans into this country.
No. And what are we going to do? I mean, that's a very fair question. What are we going to do? Because if you're going to be Trump and you're saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to shut this down, right? I'm going to shut this thing down. It hasn't been shut down for a while, right? It hasn't been shut down for a long time in a real way. 85, it was shut down with Reagan. And after 9/11 for a short period of time, but we all understood why. So if you're going to do this, how long is this going to be? What's this going to cost us? What's this going to cost other countries? There's a lot of things that go into this thing, but we've got to figure something out. And it's more than just a wall. And I know, and here's the thing. When people say, Chad, you said the wall's not going to work. This is what I think. The wall will work in certain areas for certain things. But as long as we built it on our side of the, meaning once you get to the wall, you're essentially on American soil, automatically, once you get to the top of the wall, you can apply for asylum and boom. Secondly, if you think it's going to stop the flow of drugs here, they're going to figure it out because there's too much money at stake. There's too much money at stake. It's not going to be the end all to be all. But we've got to figure something out. We do. We absolutely do.
I think if you were to accelerate and provide immigration judges and process these cases quickly, a couple of things would happen. One is the American people's concern about the situation would diminish because we would be getting these people out quickly. But secondly is when you get the people out quickly, the smugglers will no longer be effective at recruiting new people in Central America because they'll see the neighbors, their friends who went north coming right back. And unless and until that happens, and frankly, things stabilize a bit in Central America, I worry this crisis is going to continue.
Yeah. And one of the things they want to do is, especially for there's a lot of stuff you hear about, like unaccompanied minors coming here, and really what they are is people are using them to get here, saying there's a family. Then they're turning them back over to other people, and they come back through saying they're a family, and the kid's getting used multiple times to help people get in this country and never getting to where they were supposed to go or getting back to their original family. One of the things they're talking about doing is Canada and Mexico. If we have an unaccompanied minor, we can send them home directly, right? So if somebody comes from Winnipeg, right, because they just got to get away from the Canadian crazy wildness there, and they just can't stand it with all of that crazy violence and lunacy and the maple syrup, and they come across the border, we can send them home immediately. And the same thing with Mexico. When it comes to Central America, we can't do that. So what do? Catch and release, all of this stuff. And the other thing to talk about, catch and release, when people say, financial issues are not a reason for asylum. And a good majority of people that apply for asylum have a court date. And they do show up to it. Other people say, no, they don't. No, they do. The problem is they give you their side of the story. And then we have to go and try to substantiate their side of the story. So once they do finally show up, which could be 18 to 24 months, they're going to still be in a situation where they're released back out into the community because to substantiate that side of the story, it's the second and third time that they may be in a situation where they could be deported, where they don't show up. So it's such a game, and they understand how the game's played. But in places like Phoenix, where I'm at, it's insane. The amount of people that are being dropped off here. They just drop them off. They got nowhere for them to go. Here you go. Welcome. And what you're going to see over the coming weeks, months, and the next year is these border states are going to be such a battleground in so many different ways when it comes to immigration. It boggles the mind as we head into 2020. And just like I look and I can honestly say, I look at the Republicans and go, you guys have zero plans when it comes to health care, and you've failed miserably on more than a few occasions, and you talk the big game. I could equally look over at the left and say you have zero plans for immigration other than continuing to do the same thing over and over and over, which is not a lot, do nothing, not a lot. And it's frustrating as hell. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. It is equal pay day today, which is a good thing. I'm all for equal pay.
Wage discrimination takes place not just on the soccer field or the silver screen, but in the boardroom, the factory floor, and countless other workplaces across this country.
And, of course, the U.S. women's soccer team is suing the United States Soccer Federation because they want, equal money and blah, 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 blah. It's just not going to happen. It's just not in some places. It's just never going to happen. The WNBA is never going to get the same kind of money NBA players are, right? It's not going to happen, right? You're a tax write-off, right? But the women are more successful. Women may be more successful in soccer here in America, but the reality is it's just not going to happen. You winning doesn't mean bringing in more money, right? UConn women's basketball is arguably the most successful NCAA basketball team around. They're not bringing in the same kind of money that Kentucky and Duke and everybody else are. It's not happening. It's not on the men's side. It's not. I'm all for equal pay, for equal ability, but we want equality across the board as if everything is exactly equal, from the hours put in to the experience to what kind of positions people hold, and that's just not the reality of it. You know it, I know it, we all know it. But you can't talk about it because it's a bad thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet at us. Love hearing from you. AMAC. See the word AMAC. Decade ago, they were formed as an alternative left-leaning Goliath that is ARP. Membership costs less than $20 a year. You make that back 10 times over with all the benefits you're going to get. Top of that, common sense immigration reform. They're out there advocating for you. The replacement of Obamacare. They're out there advocating hard for you. They are amazing. Retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, movie ticket discounts. Huge right there. Roadside assistance discounts, so much more. And this is what I'm doing for my listeners, that's you guys out there. How about a free year? It's on me. They don't even want your credit card. There's no cost. There's no tricks. No credit card. Just the time it takes for you to sign up. Simple and easy. Go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad. amac.us/Chad, or call 888-355-1668, 888-355-1668, or amac.us/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Delta, JetBlue, Southwest. In that order, please. According to the 29th Annual Airline Quality Ranking, those airlines were best in terms of on-time performance, mishandled bags, customer complaints, and the number of times people were bumped from flights involuntarily. Alaska Airlines, Hawaiian, and United ranked 4, 5, and 6, followed by Spirit, American, and Frontier. The report shows customers actually complained less last year and had fewer lost bags. There were fewer planes arriving on time, but it was only down a fraction from the year before.
Yeah, I'm flying on Wednesday and Friday. So I tend to travel a lot. I'm mostly American, and they're okay. I don't have a problem with them. As long as you get me to where I'm going, we're good. I'm flying Delta for the first time in a long time, but they get high marks as well. So this will be interesting to see. But if you're, Frontier, Spirit. Did you see the stand-up seats, Producer Phil? Did you see the stand-up seats that the Italian guy wants to have?
No, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah, stand-up seats. It's standing room. It is festival seating. We're going to open the doors. You guys all run, and we'll see where we go. Stand-up seats, just to see. It was like it's in the early phase. It's a design. We'll see how that goes. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So, America, we are liars. We are absolutely liars. According to a new study, we only have about 4 hours a week of free time, and that is a bunch of crap. It's absolutely a bunch of crap. What it should say is America lies. They said the average person has just 4 hours and 26 minutes of free time per week. Now, I will tell you this right now. I work a lot. I was up at 4 this morning. I won't get home till 8 o'clock tonight. I do 3 radio shows. 3 radio shows. I do a lot of work. I travel. I have more than 4 hours and 26 minutes a week. It's how do you consider it free time, right? Like this weekend, instead of doing some of the stuff I wanted to, I said, hey, I'm gonna make some free time for myself. I had nothing. Went, saw a movie, did church. I enjoyed some time. Are there weeks where I don't have a ton of free time? Yeah. But to say that the average week, that's a bunch of crap. It is such a bunch of crap. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
The Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
If I could do it all over again with the information I know now, especially about my case and my situation and how the FBI lied to the world about what my involvement really was and wasn't and who the characters were and they weren't, I would have never pled guilty.
That right there is George Papadopoulos. He's joining us now. His new book's called Deep State Target, How I Got Caught Up in the Crosshairs of the Plot to Bring Down President Trump. George, appreciate you coming on today. And if you had to do it all over again, knowing what you know now, you just said, nah.
Well, of course not, because as we now know, this entire thing was a fabricated, hoax and basically was designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that's basically confuse the American public about who Donald Trump and his team were, and hopefully that would have led to an impeachment proceeding. But the evidence was so weak and just corrupt against members of the Trump campaign and probably the president himself that even Mueller himself, in an unambiguous manner, stated that there was no conspiracy or collusion. And he dropped this information at 5 o'clock on a Friday. So I think many people are now scratching their heads thinking, what the heck did we just go through over the last 3 years? And was it worth it or not?
A lot of what, everybody thinks it's Russia, Russia, Russia. And that, while that may have been the start of why they got into this, for you, it was Israel, 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 not Russia, Russia, Russia.
Yeah, that's something that, I've just been able to now freely speak about because obviously I've had some sort of gag order on me for the last 2 years. And it just goes to show how, confused the media was regarding both the origins and the involvement of apparent key players in the Russia investigation, such as myself, yet I had no involvement with the Russians. And that's why people now, including, Sean Hannity, the president himself, they're looking into my story and people like Congressman Mark Meadows and trying to figure out if this guy Papadopoulos had nothing to do with the Russians or the Russian government, how did an investigation actually begin into him and others on the campaign? And I think what's going to happen is now that the president has declared that he'll be declassifying specific materials, and members of Congress have been asking him to do it for a long time, we're going to get those answers, and I think those answers are going to shock America and the world.
Talking to George Papadopoulos, the book's called Deep State Target, How I Got Caught Up in the Crosshairs of the Plot to Bring Down President Trump. The way it went down for you, you're on an airplane, you're flying home, next thing you know, boom, you're in shackles and away you go. And you'd already been fighting this, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes this. How shocked were you?
Wow. I mean, it was probably one of the most bizarre moments that anyone could ever, go through. Because basically I have the FBI at my house in January of 2017, and they're harassing me for the next 4 or 5 months leading up to my annual vacation that I take, where I was with my girlfriend at the time, now wife. So I'm enjoying a summer break in Europe. And as I'm coming back for a job interview in New York at one of the major news networks in this country, I'm basically arrested in a savage-like manner by 7 agents. They're not telling me what I did wrong. They're not allowing me to speak to my lawyer initially or make any phone calls to let people know that I'm alive. So I'm thrown in a cell. I don't know why I'm being arrested. And the next day, I'm coming out of a daze, and I'm sitting in front of a judge, and they're telling me you're looking at 25 to 35 years in prison. So and all this time, I had absolutely no idea why or what the FBI really wanted from me. And then I later find out that basically what they wanted me to do is repeat some information that one of their informants had told me in order to create a conspiracy against the Trump campaign, and something I never did.
Yeah, it's you look at this, and Mueller and a lot of FBI and prosecutor people, when you look at it, they overcharge in hopes that, hey, we're threatening you with 25, 30, 40 years, but if you give us something, we can go lightly. You work with us, we'll work with you, kind of thing. Did you feel like, okay, so this is what they're coming after me for, but I can't talk about it, which also sucks because you couldn't raise money. You had to go out and try to find a way. I mean, human beings, minus a few in this world, only have limited resources. And do you feel like, okay, they're overcharging me? Even your lawyers have probably thought they're overcharging you, because the reality is that they want you to lay down and walk scot-free if you're willing to give up a bigger fish.
That's exactly what my impression was. It looked like and that's, I think, the reason that they arrested me in the way they did and kept me under seal, so that I couldn't raise money, I couldn't go work, I couldn't travel, I couldn't tell the world what was going on. And they basically used that to their advantage and were trying to get me to say things that they just knew were not true. And I wouldn't do it. I wasn't going to turn over and lie just to protect myself and hurt the president and other people involved, just to make a case for them that should have never existed, and it never did.
So in the end, you ended up doing 11 days. So 11 days is what you got. But what did they get you for? Because, again, the Russia is all we heard. But in the end, it was?
In the end, what they were really after me for, and what they really, during my last meeting with Mueller and his team, they told me that if you don't plead guilty to some very dumb charge that, I wouldn't have basically pled guilty to, in a normal situation, we're going to charge you as acting as some sort of unregistered agent of Israel. It was the same nonsensical charge that they got Michael Flynn with regarding Turkey, Paul Manafort with Ukraine, and probably others in the campaign. I mean, look, I was a foreign policy advisor. All my business was done abroad. Of course, I had high-level connections to various governments. That's why I was hired to work on 2 presidential campaigns, and how I ended up introducing Donald Trump to the president of Egypt during the campaign. So they wanted to basically, there's a 2-tiered justice system in this country. To the Clinton folks who were on the campaign and were doing the exact same thing that myself and Mike Flynn and others were doing, they're scot-free. For us, though, they had to throw the book at us, and that's exactly what they did. And probably that's why Mike Flynn pled guilty as well, because they were threatening him with these very arcane and bizarre charges regarding this Foreign Agent Registration Act.
You guys all run in the same circles, in a campaign situation like this, or as advisory, the Clinton people and everybody. I'm sure you've spoken with some of them. I'm sure some of them said, man, this is not good. You're getting screwed over here.
I don't know. I mean, all I know is that now, because don't forget, for 2 years I was unable to talk. And they had me as this mystery guy and this mysterious figure who was trying to basically hurt America. So no one wanted to talk to me at that time. I lost all my, contacts, and even friends and some family members disappeared. So just now, over the last, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks since my book has come out, Deep State Target, have I actually been allowed to just give the truth and speak to America directly. And I think that's resonating with the American public and with allies of President Trump in Congress, and probably even the administration itself. And that's why just today or yesterday, I think Congressman Mark Meadows was tweeting about how important it is to declassify certain materials regarding my case that should exonerate me even more, and the president himself. So that's where we are today.
Talking to George Papadopoulos, Deep State Target, How I Got Caught in the Crosshairs of the Plot to Bring Down President Trump. It's a book that's out. You're out there. I'm sure you're seeing a lot of people, like you said, you haven't seen for a while. But how are people taking you now that you're able to speak about this? Because you were that mystery person, and when I hear anybody on the left talk about, oh my God, look, they got Papadopoulos, they don't even know who Carter Page and all. They start throwing these. They don't really know anything about it. They just know that you guys pled guilty to something, and they don't really know the whole story. Now that the story's coming out, I'm sure some people are looking at going, well, this just doesn't sound like all the things it was cracked up to be in the New York Times and whatnot.
You know what? I think that was exactly the point. I think that disinformation campaign against me and others and the president himself was intentional. because, it's been 2 years, right, since my name and other people's names have been brought up in this investigation. Yet I'll give you an example. Michael Isikoff, right? He wrote the book Russia Roulette, which was a New York Times bestseller about apparent collusion with Trump and Russia. I had an interview with him about 4 days ago or 5 days ago when I was in Washington, and he was so shocked by what I was telling him that he was actually mad at the information that he was being fed that was all fake because it embarrassed him. So I think all of this mainstream media narrative that surrounded this fake Russia story was intentional, and whoever was feeding the media this knew what they were doing, and the media might have even been complicit in spreading this fake news around for the last 2 years.
Last question. Appreciate you coming on. The book's called Deep State Target, How I Got Caught Up in the Crosshairs of the Plot to Bring Down President Trump. We're talking to George Papadopoulos. What do you want America to know about you, about everything that has gone on in here? Because remember, while Mueller and them, went after a lot of people and the Manaforts and stuff who are going to go to jail for quite some time. For stuff that has nothing to do with Russia or anything, has to do with their own lining their pocketbooks, not telling America and the tax guy. But what do you want to tell people about you, who you are, and really your side of it that maybe they're not going to get in the book or you wish you would have put in, but now you really want to be able to tell it?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I'm a patriot. I love America. My entire professional life was dedicated to public service. That's why I ended up joining the Ben Carson campaign and the Donald Trump campaign. The last thing George Papadopoulos was doing was promoting foreign government interests in America, especially Russia. When the FBI came to my house in January of 2017, it was 2 days after I left inauguration parties, and it was the same day that I had an interview with officials tied to the White House to discuss my job prospects. And I volunteered to go talk to the FBI without a lawyer that same exact day after they told me that talking with us, you would be helping a national security issue. Little did I know that by me being a patriotic American, going down to talk to the FBI, that they would have been laying the seeds for a perjury trap and an entrapment operation that was in the works for the last year before that interview against me and others involved with the Trump campaign and even Donald Trump himself. So I'm not saying that the FBI rank and file are bad people. They're excellent people, but certainly there's a reason that the Comey FBI all of them are either fired, demoted, or under investigation themselves. So I just want America to understand that, Donald Trump and his team, we all love America. We loved America. And no one ever did anything to commit treason against this country.
George Papadopoulos, Deep State Target, How I Got Caught in the Crosshairs of the Plot to Bring Down President Trump. Appreciate you coming on today. Thanks so much for your time, and good luck with the book.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Look, the New York Times is coming out with stuff now saying, there's people inside the investigation that say that there's far more damning stuff. I don't believe anything you guys say anymore. I want to see the report as much as we possibly can legally. But I think there's going to be some stuff in there, too, where we look and say, they overreached. And there's going to be some ancillary characters along the way who maybe even George Papadopoulos here, who was used as a way to get as a stepping stone and a stepladder to get to somebody potentially bigger to go after some other bigger fish in hopes to bring down the biggest fish of all. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say
what? A sensor malfunctions seconds after takeoff. Sources telling ABC News they believe it was a bird strike, triggering that anti-stall system, MCAS, nosing down the plane twice before the pilots shut off the system, the Boeing procedure. But they can't manually nose up the plane, possibly because of the jet's high speed. It's putting too much pressure on the stabilizer.
Yeah, the whole thing with Boeing, it's not getting any better. They're trying to figure out what's happening. You've got Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader! Yeah, that Ralph Nader coming out today talking about Boeing and how dangerous these airplanes are It is not a good look for them right now. And the CEO understands, look, the lawsuits are already coming in, and there's only going to be more of these lawsuits. It's a horrible, horrible situation for Boeing and for everybody. And it's just, you feel bad and feel bad for the people who worked on them, feel bad for the people that died, feel bad for the people that are going through all of this right now. Is there more to it? Is it just the system was too much and they weren't trained? The person who is running Ethiopia's transportation, she came out today and she said essentially that they followed all of the stuff. They had all of the necessary training. There didn't seem to be any malfunction. Is it a bird? Is there more to it? And what's Boeing going to do? What are they going to do? Are they going to cancel all 5,000 of these? Ralph, they say we just need to cancel these. Can't have these dangerous things in the air because they're essentially death tubes.
It's our responsibility to eliminate this risk. We own it, and we know how to do it.
But are people going to trust you again? That's the big thing, because you're going to have people's lives in your hands at 33,000 feet. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So Jeff Bezos' wife has said and finalized the divorce. She's going to keep 25% of the stock. She's going to walk away with $36 billion. That's with the B, kids. Dollars. Mackenzie Bezos will walk away with $36 billion. I thought at that point in time, I think you're more skipping away. Even though you're sad about that, at least you're not walking away empty-handed. She's also going to allow him to keep the Washington Post and several other things. And included in that with her stock, she's going to let him, even though he's got a controlling majority of the shares in Amazon, vote her shares as well, which I think was a big thing for him. So everything's still status quo. $36.5 billion. Who knows what it is right now? Maybe $33 billion, maybe $38 billion. It goes up, it goes down by the day. That's a lot of billions, though. You're doing all right. You're doing all right. Speaking of not doing all right, say what? You know my love of lizards. Komodo Island may shut down for a year because smugglers were coming and taking some baby dragons off the island, the Komodo dragon, largest lizard in the world. And the pet trade is big. And if I'd have known it was only $35,000 to get one, I'd probably try to figure that out. It's only $35,000. I thought it was at least $250,000. That's a little steep for me. $35,000. People say, but they're almost extinct. They're the way they've always been. There's 3 islands that they live on. They've got no competition. They dominate the island. Nobody comes and hunts them for anything, minus some people who take some on an illegal pet trade. But the reality is they're not really endangered like we think. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Say what? Giza Sheets, MyPillow, incredible. Get yours now. Small area. They're grown on the Mediterranean. This cotton. It is incredible. You're going to slide into them. Sleep like you've never slept. The best fitting sheets. Deep pockets. It's incredible what you're going to get with this. MyPillow's done it again. 100% machine washable and dryable cotton. You can feel the difference. These sheets are amazing. Giza Sheets, Cotton Today's. Get yours. 800-983-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. 800-983-4975 or visit MyPillow.com to get your Giza Sheets. Use promo code Benson at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson, Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
In my opinion, right now, this is one of, if not the biggest crisis this country has faced in a decade. Truly. I mean, The security aspects of this, the humanitarian aspects of this have got to be addressed. This is at the very top of our list at DHS. We've announced today that we're now treating this like a massive Cat 5 hurricane disaster.
Well, if you're real about that, Kirstjen Nielsen, you're just going to move them all to Houston? Is that what you guys are going to do? Leave them all in New Orleans inside trailers? It is, in fairness, joking aside, immigration-wise, she's right. She's right. This is a disaster, and it's becoming a humanitarian disaster. On top of the frustrated ineptitude of politics, frustration from us, the taxpayers, the citizens, in their inactivity to do anything, the humanitarian side is, this is ugly, and it's getting uglier. And they don't seem to do anything about it. They argue over it, but they don't want to do anything about it.
All is on the table, including to close down the border. We have to stop this flow into our communities. We have to stop the drugs. We have to stop the smuggling and trafficking and gangs. He's very serious about it. So, yes, I think everything is on the table. In the meantime, but I cannot be clear, and I don't think the president can be any clearer. He will take every action within his authority to stop this flow.
He'll try something. That's how he gets. That's what I'm starting to realize is you do. The one thing I think Trump really changed is he learned on the campaign trail, big, bold, loud, brash, gets people's attention. Coming out, policy wonk, soft speaking, nobody's interested in that. You got to be bold. You got to be loud. You got to be strong and confident. And you've got to be, at times, even over the top to get anybody to notice. And if that means doing some things that even shock the people in the political world to get their attention, I guess that's what you do. And is this what politics is going to look like? But we do have a problem here. Is it an emergency? You know what it's becoming? It's becoming an emergency. You've allowed something to go from an issue that needs to be addressed to a crisis, which is where we're currently at, and we're going to get ready to get to that category of true emergency if they continue to be as inept as they are. They don't see it as ineptitude. They see it as politics, right? But ask the people in El Paso, in Phoenix, in Albuquerque, in the Southwest, who are dealing with God knows how many people that are coming here. Think about this. In Phoenix, 22,000 people have just been dropped off here since December 21st. 22,000 people. These are people that have nowhere to go. They just drop them off. The pressures on the services here, they're stretched so thin anyways. Then you think about all of that stuff that's going on now. That effect on the local side of it is huge. San Antonio, even more so. And this doesn't even count the people that have gotten here without being caught. Still inactivity. Still nothing. I don't know. Is he going to close it down? Is he going to close it down? I think the possibility is there. I do. I think the possibility of closing it down is absolutely there. And I think he is that kind of guy that would say, yeah, I'm going to do this. Because nobody's listening to me. Nobody's doing anything. The Dems don't want to do any of this stuff with us. They don't want to get anything done. And it's their way or the highway. They don't like my way, so they're going to do their way. And their way is we'll just continue to let the same thing happen over and over again. So you know what? The power that I have, the authority I have, challenge it in court, and we'll see what happens when it gets to the Supreme Court. I feel I can win it. So I'm just going to do this if you're not going to be involved.
Look, Democrats are leaving us absolutely no choice at this point. We've already had to move roughly 750 personnel from ports of entry at this point, and it looks like we're going to have to move more, which will force those lines to go longer to cross the border, and eventually it may be that it's the best decision that we close the border.
I don't know. You can't do it for a day or two. You've got to make it big and strong, and there's going to be people that are going to be hurt. Fiscally, and what about your taste buds?
Donald Trump has shut down the border with Mexico, and America has run dry of its precious avocados. Now, renegade gangs of health-conscious millennials roam the landscape looking for green gold.
Give us the avocados for our toast, or you will die! Defend the avocados.
Was it like 3 days, and that's it? That's it. 3 days. 3 days, avocados gone. We'll have a massive shortage. And then going to Mexican restaurants, you're not going to get guacamole. Luckily for me, I hate avocados. So I don't really worry about that. I don't. But some people may worry about it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Here is maybe the soundbite of the day.
They just can't get something massive through both chambers.
And I think that what you're ultimately going to see is pressure from House Republicans who are going to, I think, cave on any pre-existing conditions proposal that's put forward by Democrats ultimately. There is no spine on this issue within the Republican conference. The problem is you're caught between a party among Republicans who aren't sure what they think about health care anymore. Obamacare has now effectively become a conservative position compared to what the Democrats who are running for president are proposing with Medicare for all.
No spine. I agree 100%. No spine. John Kennedy, do you have anything to say about that?
Some of my colleagues need to go online, check Amazon, see if they're selling spines at a special discount this week, and grow some guts, and let's tackle one of the problems that moms and dads in America worry about at night when they lie down and can't sleep. And I think the president's absolutely right. It may be lousy politics, but it's good for the American people.
Yeah. But as you're learning more and more, it's tribalism, and it's appealing to your base. It's rabble-rousing them. It's raising money off of them. It's doing just enough to feed them, to keep them coming back to you. But it's never actually getting to the point where we're somewhat solutions-based, and we need to be. We all know what we want when it comes to, ask the average person what they want. They want competition, choice. They want an a la carte system when it comes to health care, where they can kind of pick and choose the things that they need. They'd like to have more transparency and pay cash for the things that they know they can pay cash for. And they want to see more competitiveness when it comes to pharmacy prices. It's not that hard. It isn't. They make it that way because the politics is where their bread is buttered. The politics is where the trough is filled, not the solutions. No spines. Maybe they can go to the spine store, right? Maybe they go there. Hey, what you got going over here? We got spine stuff going on. All right, let's get ourselves a spine. The fact that they're pushing it back to 2020 frustration. I'm so blessed to be able to do the show. I talk to so many people across the country, and there isn't a day that doesn't go by that somebody doesn't say to me, hey, I spend more money on my health care than I do my mortgage, more money on my health care than, I mean, they talk about, and I get it. Man, I'm the exact same way. More money on health care than I do on my mortgage. That is insane. And Obamacare, the way that it worked its way out and the way that it's got its way in and then it's worked its way out to the people, what it's done is it's made everybody pay more. So a few more could get quote-unquote insurance. And it never addressed any of the real problems that needed to be addressed. Because it was written to be a law more than it was health care. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. He's creepy. He's your uncle. He's Joe.
Joe Biden is extremely affectionate.
He's very affectionate.
Expressions of affection.
He is an affectionate, old-school politician.
Uncle Joe, as we affectionately call him, he's a very affectionate person. He's just an affectionate guy.
Very, very affectionate.
He's touchy-feely in an affectionate way.
Very affectionate person.
He suffers from being overtly affectionate.
That's part of who he is. I think very affectionate person.
This is ridiculous.
Did you guys know he was very affectionate? I don't know if you heard that. I think it's a wee bit fetishy. It's an odd thing. And it is. It's it's a weird thing. And he's having to answer for it more and more and more and more. And more people are coming across. And they probably, there's going to be a ton of people that come out who, at the time, it was no big deal. I mean, some people felt uncomfortable. You've heard from Lucy Flores and a few others who've come out and say, yeah. But there were other people who they didn't think anything of it. And now they're like, well, yeah, I guess that's really what it was. But it's a weird thing. It's in your space. And I'm telling you, it's a space thing. There's just space. But I spoke to a senator the other day that's known him forever and said, Joe is that way. Joe's the kind of guy that'll come over and puts his arm around you and he talks to you. He's jovial. He's definitely not he doesn't understand the space. And I'm a personal space, guy. I'm just like, give me my space. If I could have a bubble, I would. Don't touch me. Personal space guy. But I still, he's got a lot to answer for. But to me, I think the progressive uber left want Joe gone, and they're not going to fight very hard for him. And you're going to see a lot of the people that have come up with Joe who will protect him, who say he's not who everybody says he is. But there's a lot of people out there who are on the progressive left who look at Joe and they're like, you're yesterday's news, right? You're disco. We're living today in hip hop and R&B, and we don't want you around, right? We don't want you around. You were yesterday. We are today. And the other people will sit there and defend you and talk about how great that music was. But you're yesterday. This is where we're going. We don't want you around. We're not going to protect you. We are going to Me Too you. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Roman made everything easy when it comes to treating something that for a lot of guys, 70% of guys, don't go to the doctors and get treated. ED, erectile dysfunction. It's not hard, guys, with Roman. It's simple and easy. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. There's a medical onboarding. It's quick. It's easy. And then when you fill that out, you're able to talk to an actual U.S. physician. You get diagnosed right there. You get meds in unmarked packages shipped to you. They don't have to worry about the waiting room and the uncomfortableness because it is uncomfortable, right? You get down on yourself in the whole 9 yards. And with the way that the world is going medically wise, why not take advantage of being able to deal with something that's affecting you? Simple and easy from the comfort of your home. That's what Roman has done. And they've come up with something that's so amazing. Now's your chance. Here's a free online visit. It's on me. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. That's GetRoman.com/Benson. It's a free online visit. It doesn't take that long. Get yourself treated. Get your medicines delivered straight to you for ED. And you won't even, nobody else know. You have to go to the pharmacy or anything. Come straight to your house. GetRoman.com/Benson. GetRoman.com/Benson. Oh, my Lord. I'm going to talk about it next. I think I'm going to do it. 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 Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
I'll tell you guys this. Arkansas has some folks in it that do some strange things. That is for darn sure.
This all happened Sunday night when two next-door neighbors were at one of the men's homes sitting on the back deck drinking. They then decided to put on a bulletproof vest and took turns shooting each other. Now, the Benton County deputies say 50-year-old Charles Ferris tried the vest on first and told 36-year-old Christopher Hicks to shoot him. Hicks shot Ferris in the chest one time with a .22 caliber semi-automatic rifle. The vest stopped the bullet. Ferris then took the vest off and Hicks tried it on.
So wait a minute, he shot him and then tried it on after the other guy got shouted?
Now, according to the police report, Ferris was mad about getting shot and how much it hurt, so he then shot Hicks several times in his back. The vest stopped all the bullets, but Hicks had severe bruising. Ferris went to Mercy Hospital, which notified police.
Kids, you're probably thinking to yourself, there's no way this story gets better. But remember, they shot each other, right? They shot each other. Hanging out, drinking, shooting each other. Oh, the story does get better because you're going to need a story to get away from the story, if that makes sense. And they got that part. I'll tell you that.
Ferris initially told deputies a story about being paid $200 to protect an asset.
$200 to protect the asset. They came up with a James Bond story. So one guy got shot, got mad because they thought it would be funny to put on bulletproof vest. Then the guy was mad because it hurt, right? Because you know it's going to hurt because you're getting shot. And he shot the other guy 7 times in the back. That's how mad he was. Then the police came because they're firing off shots and they're screaming and yelling. And one of the guys got to go to the hospital. And what ends up happening is they go, well, we better come up with a plan. The plan is simple. We were protecting an asset. They gave us $200 to protect the asset. Who's the asset? We can't tell you the asset was. I will just tell you this. He's the most dangerous man in the trailer park. Yeah. Way to protect him. And gave us $200. $100 a piece. Well, there's only... Both of you got shot, but there's only one vest. Well, we were quick to exchange vests because I knew he was down. So I'm like, you better give me the vest because that guy with the white linen suit's going to come back and shoot our asset. And I put the vest on and I got shot. Then they talked to the wife, and the wife's like, those idiots were shooting guns off because they were drunk and they were having fun. They can't be seen with one another right now. And the neighbors are a little worried because apparently they shoot off hundreds of rounds a day, and it's not the first time they've done some silly stuff, and they're worried. Arkansas. Who's your daddy? That should be on their flag. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Sometimes you hear stories like that, and you're thinking, maybe the Electoral College is old. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
The Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 24 ayes, 17 noes.
The ayes have it. The resolution is amended, is agreed to.
Subpoena! Let me see your subpoena. Oh, me too. Yeah, so Nadler and them are excited. They're going to subpoena, and they want to see every single thing, even the stuff that they're not supposed to see. They want to see it all. They deserve to see it all. The Mueller report. Must see it. You don't even understand who this guy is. You don't even understand what this guy is all about. You don't understand any of those things. He's a bad, evil, horrible person. Now, Nadler has a history of these kind of things. You know, special counselors, reports. He did something with the Starr report. What did he do? Well, we'll talk about that. First and foremost, Mr. Wolf Blitzer.
The president just once again personally attacked you for demanding the full Mueller report. He's also calling you a hypocrite because you previously objected to the full release of Ken Starr's report on former President Clinton back in 1998. Listen to the president. Listen to this clip.
All right, so there he is. He's got Nadler right there, and this is the president.
Jerry Nadler thought the concept of giving the Starr report was absolutely something you could never do. But when it comes to the Mueller report, which is different on our side, that would be something that he should get. It's hypocrisy and it's a disgrace.
Now, is that true about that? Well, he was on with Charlie Rose. This is before everybody knew Charlie liked to expose his rose, if you will. 1998, talking about the Starr report. Remember, impeachment, Starr report, then it became on to the impeachment. Should we see it? Shouldn't we see it? Can we see everything?
Now, Mr. Starr, in his transmittal letter to the Speaker and the Minority Leader, made it clear that much of this material is Federal Rule 6E material, that is material that by law
unless contravened by vote of the House, must be kept secret. It's grand jury material. It represents statements which may or may not be true by various witnesses, salacious material, all kinds of material.
So that's what he said, 1998, right? So, hey, by law, can't see some things. Nadler today talking about the president and what he had to say.
The president, as you can see, is a bully. The Mueller investigation looked into very serious allegations and very serious matters that we have a responsibility as the oversight body to look into, and we are asking that the entire Mueller report and all the underlying documentations be given to Congress so we can examine it and fulfill our responsibility of protecting the rule of law and looking into questions of obstruction of justice and personal enrichment and abuses of power.
All right, so first of all, if you want to go into the personal enrichments, again, politicians should be the worst people to look at towards each other when it comes to personal enrichment. And I may even say, even though I'm not a fan of the way that a lot of the things that Trump has done, I think in many ways he's destroyed his brand. If there's anything, there's not the enrichment that you think there is. And if somebody's like, oh, yeah, these people were renting hotels, were they paying market rate for it? Yeah, well, was the hotel built after he became president? Well, no. Okay, then you're stretching there. I mean, there's a great piece in about 12 different places today about Biden and his son Hunter and a natural gas deal and a prosecutor in the Ukraine that basically Obama and Biden himself pressured that prosecutor to be gone by dangling $1 billion of money they weren't going to get. Lo and behold, that prosecutor was looking into corruption into the natural gas company, of which Biden's son sat on the board. That guy was gone. Everything went away. So, we could play games all day. But the Mueller report was about, last time I checked, Russia. You at one time didn't want something to come out because of the salaciousness. You can't wait, especially if there's no Russia here. If there is salaciousness that can hurt him, you want it to come out. Now, this is where he points out the difference between the Mueller report and the Starr report.
The president apparently forgets that Ken Starr's report, all 400 and some odd pages of it, had already been given to the entire Congress, which is what we're asking now. And Congress already had it. The question was, should that report, with all the salacious personal sexual material in it, be given to the public after Congress already had it?
So that's his defending it. But you want the whole report, and you are fine with that. You also acknowledge, though, in 98, that there are certain things that can't come out by law that you guys can't see because it's under grand jury. You understand that, but you still want it anyways. It's a game. They want to win. Trump wants to win. It's a game. They're going to do everything they can in their powers to embarrass him, to come after him, and he's going to do everything in his power to continue to do the things he's doing, and this is the way that it's going to go as we move forward. And all the while that's happening, we're still having an issue at our border.
So I asked the head of the Border Patrol, do you need a wall? And he said, absolutely. So the president stood firm. He has more money for a wall than he's ever had because he's willing to declare an emergency, and there is one. But he also said, if you don't change our laws, the wall won't work. Right now, if you step 1 foot into the United States and claim asylum, you're entitled to a hearing. We have no place to put you, and we release you in the country. If you come here with children, you can only be held 20 days. We release you because we have no place to put you. That's why we're being overrun by people from the Triangle countries, because we can't deport you back to those countries.
No, we can't. And the children are, that's a big thing right there, the children. And those numbers he's giving, it's not even that way anymore. They can't even hold you for 72 hours. They're just letting you go almost immediately. They're dropping you off in San Antonio, El Paso, Phoenix. They can't. And the children thing is huge when it comes to El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. And I'll tell you what. If a kid comes here, again, from Mexico unaccompanied, or Canada, we can immediately ship that child home. We can't do that when it comes to kids coming from those 3 countries and any other country. You just can't do it. So that's an issue. Kids are being used as pawns, right? It's like you got 8 friends. You buy 2 tickets to get into the movie, and you just keep going and handing those tickets out over and over again and letting people get in, and that's what's going on. And it's frustrating. Nothing's getting done. The ineptitude and inactivity of our government to want to get something done because the politics. And I look at Trump and I say, I applaud the fact that you're going at it. You're going at it. You've made this something. And I think a lot of people, even people on the left who don't agree or can't stand him as a human being, and that's totally fine, also recognize there's an issue and are starting to recognize that the games that are being played, and the Democrats right now, I'm looking at you guys, you are playing this game, and it is ugly. And you've even got people who worked in the Obama administration are saying, yeah, we got a problem.
Even Obama's own Secretary at Department of Homeland Security from the Obama administration, Jay Johnson, has said that this is a crisis. People are starting to understand exactly what the president has said was going to happen all along. And it's unfortunate because this could have been something that we fixed if Democrats had been willing to work with us. Hopefully they see the impact that it's having on our border and on our Border Patrol agents, and they'll be willing to step up and do their jobs and help the president.
No, I don't think they will, because the politics of it's too great. But you can scream xenophobe and racist. You can scream all of those things. The humanitarian problem that's going on there. And here's something else. People are no longer buying it. I work with a lot of people that are very left-leaning. And they're no longer buying that amnesty should be given to everybody that comes here. They're not buying that. About 3% of people who apply for amnesty get amnesty because they are being persecuted politically. They're threatened with their life. There's certain things. You coming here because you want to just make money because your country's awful. We can't do that to everybody because there's a lot of other places. You think Honduras is bad? Woohoo! You should go to Yemen. You should. It's awful. There are issues here that need to be dealt with. Is he going to close the border? I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Would I be surprised? No, I'm not surprised anything anymore that President Trump's willing to do. And I think at this point in time, he may be forced to. He may be forced to close that border just to get the attention. And how long does it stay closed? I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's going to hurt a lot of people on both sides of the border. But sometimes when you look at the way that this thing has gone down and how they've allowed essentially a cut on the arm to get to the point where it's becoming gangrene and we're thinking about taking the arm off, well, that's the inactivity of government to want to see something through. We'll just let it go until it snowballs. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us.
He cheats like a mafia accountant. Like he cheats crazy. He cheats whether you're watching or not. He cheats whether you like it or not. He tried to cheat Tiger Woods in a match. Tiger hits it like this. He hits 2 balls in the water, doesn't count either, and pretends that he almost tied Tiger Woods. So it doesn't matter who he is. He has to be the winner.
Yeah. I think it's just a mentality. I think it's just the mentality of who Trump is. That's Rick Riley. Big-time sports writer, guy who does a hell of a job on sports and a lot of other things, life and sports and pop culture melding together. He's got a new book out about Trump. But I think when you've got to look at this and when as he talks about how Trump cheats and the little things he does, and you hear that, and that's a perfect example of somebody who just he wants to win, but I think he also in his mind believes everybody else is cheating. Because he's grown up in a world of shuckers and jivers and people that are also trying to get one step ahead, and they're not afraid to step on your head to do it. And I think there's a lot to that. Doesn't mean it's right? But I think he really believes that you're doing the same thing. Not somebody like Tiger. But the average person that he plays with. I think he really believes that you're doing the same thing he's doing. And that you're looking for the edge, whether it's business or politics or pinochle. He's looking for an edge. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Here's something that just makes you go, huh?
He has this course in Aberdeen, Scotland, and he built this ridiculously expensive course, and he tore down the sand dunes, and then they started putting up these power windmills, and he sued the government, and he said they give you cancer.
If you have a windmill anywhere near your house, congratulations. Your house just went down 75% in value, and they say the noise causes cancer.
And in fact, they don't do anything, and he lost the lawsuit, so he hates windmills, and now he's telling the world that they give you cancer.
That's hilarious. That is funny, though. And he'll say he didn't say it, too. That's the thing. He'll say, it gives you ear cancer. It's like, whatever. It's just 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Lightstream. I want to talk to you guys about credit card consolidation. If you want to start getting ahead, look at your credit cards. Look how much you're paying on your interest rates. Realize that there's a better way of doing something, and that is Lightstream. Credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream is so amazing. You can get a fixed rate as low as 6.14% APR with AutoPay. Loans as high as $100,000 with no fees, and you get the money as soon as the day you apply. Yeah, that is incredible. Plus, they're a division of SunTrust, one of the nation's largest financial institutions. So, complete peace of mind, real company, and a great way to start paying those things off and start putting money towards things that matter and putting money away. How do you get this? And by the way, my listeners, you guys an additional rate discount. I'll tell you how to do that. You got to go to lightstream.com/Benson. That's LIGHTSTREAM.com/Benson. You can get an additional rate discount there, subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Illegal, but ingenious. They say two 14-year-old boys, ninth graders at the school, were arrested last Thursday for hacking into the school's Wi-Fi system and shutting down the internet, making it impossible for teachers to give any tests or teach any lessons that relied on the internet. It is all the talk here.
And I couldn't access the internet. I couldn't really do any work. My teachers were annoyed. We couldn't take tests, couldn't take notes.
Damn you kids, you and your technology, and you're so much smarter than we are. So you got these two 14-year-olds who, by the sounds of it, probably have a good career in front of them, right? When you were younger, and this is just the modern way of stealing a teacher's test or hiding their keys or, whatever it is. It's the modern way. But, hey, if you're going to do it, why not just everybody's teacher, not just yours?
I saw them and I asked them about it, and they thought it was funny because they didn't want to go to school.
Police say it happened over several diverse days in March. Our Wi-Fi connection was compromised over the past week. We have determined that two students may have been involved in the disruption of our system. Police say the students hired a private company to hack in and disable the school's Wi-Fi.
It's possible that they used an app or paid somebody online to do this for them. There are services like this available online.
Chad, that's not funny. That's not funny. Kids need to learn. Yeah, but it is kind of funny. And this is the stuff where you're looking at your kid and you're like, and then a little bit older in life and you're just laughing and go, that's hilarious.
The two students arrested were charged with computer criminal activity.
I don't think it's right in any circumstance, but clearly they have some future in computer science or IT development.
Yeah. And I got to be honest with you. This goes back to that situation of, do we really need to arrest two kids who did something stupid, right? Do we really need to arrest them? Yes, because we have to prove a lesson. What's that? What are you proving? You know, this is modern education, which is let's go overboard on insanity. In our day, what did they do? You'd maybe get suspended for a day, you get a good talking to, you get a slap up the head, and we'd move on with our lives. Not anymore. Now it is not only punishment, right? It's not only about punishment. It's also about the lessons you learn that are going to be taught along the way that are ridiculous and that are overkill, that aren't going to do anything. The examples they think they're making, and it's just insane. Just get over it. It's funny. Tell them not to do it again. We can't, Chad, because we got 45 people we need to report to, and everybody's some sort of reporter. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing you. Got you over the hump. I like it when we do that. Here's your useless fact of the day. Bela Lugosi, the man who played Dracula, the most famous of the Draculas, I would say, was Bela Lugosi. When he died, he was buried in the old cape and everything. Yeah, think about those apples. Have yourself a good rest of your day. Night, night, Jack.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.